Hey, how you doing? This is Bobby Davis. I'm here in the tech capital of Kernersville, North Carolina. It's another beautiful day, and I'm joined with Kevin Doyle. Hey, Kevin, how you doing?
I'm awesome. It's Friday. It's good.
It's good.
And it is a nice weather today. We don't normally talk about the weather recently, last few days, and it's been nice. So
today's a good day on a lot of fronts. Our current cohort graduated today, so we just got off the phone with them.
We did.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So congratulations to all of those and anybody that's here that is a graduate that graduated. I know some of those guys joined, so congratulations. Now you start the real hard work of the job hunt part.
Finding a job. So like we put them in the second half of our curriculum, which is just like you learn to code, and now we're gonna work with the recruiters to get you a job. So like we're a recruiting agency too. So like we work with them and find them jobs. We don't stop until they stop. So
yep.
Takes you 1 week or 20, we're gonna find you a job.
So they now get to work with Mariana and Natasha and find a job.
Not to brag, I think that's what sets Codifront apart from every other boot camp in the country. We actually have people that do that all day long. So
yeah, and people that have done it for a long time and know exactly what they're doing.
Is kind of the goal. So like, I'd feel bad just to be on just the pure education side. So college and community college, just on the pure education side, we'll teach you something. And I feel like the job is like, easier to get. It can be very difficult and challenging. So
right.
So anyway, that's kind of what we do. All right, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so it's cool. So they got graduated.
We get,
awesome.
We don't get a week off, but we're like off camera every day. So like that's good too. So like,
right. Yeah. It's no different for you and I, really. But
yeah,
Jason and Drew get a week, like whether or not.
So I don't have to do interviews next week, which is good.
So you don't have to do that. Yeah.
I can take up half a day usually. But like I'm pretty excited about that, and then we'll start working on the next cohort that starts July 6th. So
yeah, right after the holiday.
Yeah, another group coming in, so it's kind of cool. So like, we're really
I know some of you guys are in that. It's going to be cool.
Yeah, man,
it's going to be cool. I saw the final. Well, it's not a final list. You actually have today. It's the last day to apply. I don't know if we're actually accepting any more people, but hey, if you're a rock star at this point and you show up and you do everything like by tomorrow, maybe, I don't know.
Maybe,
but that's maybe. But today's technically the last day.
Yeah, I think we're done though. But like, if you wanted to apply today, we'll talk to you. But it'd probably be September.
Yep.
So the sales team just yelled at me, probably.
Natasha's probably calling you right now. Your phone's ringing. She's like, "Why are you saying these things?"
Yeah. So So I mean, it's not like I think coming to a boot camp isn't like standing in line and buying a Snickers bar in the. It's not like a purchase.
Yeah, it's not an impulse. Right.
It's not an impulse buying decision. And like when we see people, apply on Friday before the Monday, they typically don't.
It's not normally a good sign.
It's not a good sign, and it's not good for you. I mean, like you need to prep and get ready and be emotionally prepared to do this. So.
Yep, definitely.
So we're not Jack and the Beanstalk. This isn't a magic bean. So like there's a lot of work involved. So anyway, so usually we got 23 or 25. I don't know how many it is, but serious people this time. So I'm excited about this class. It's good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I saw the list of where people are from too. So that's cool. Yeah. All over the world. Including an international student and then all across the US, which is super good. Yeah, cool. Super good.
But all over the country, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. All over the place, from Florida to California to Seattle, like literally across the entire country.
Yeah.
I got a note today that my copy of the book's coming from Amazon.
All right.
Today.
Cool.
So I don't have to wait till Sunday, so that's nice.
That's kind of cool.
That should be that should be
a
good.
number one bookseller. So
yeah,
it is. So that's kind of cool. Thank you guys for buying it and supporting us. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody that bought it too. If you did buy it, we'd love a review too. If you could do that, that'd be great. That would help it too.
So Esteban has a question.
Amazon.
Yes. He says he wants to know if we're going to go back to produced videos.
We will.
Yes.
Yeah, we will.
So like I'm actually working. I've got like 3 of them in the pipeline, so I just got to get them edited and stuff like that. So, but we will definitely do that. So
what we'll probably do is like long term, we'll probably do less live and to mix in the pre-produced stuff. That's probably what we'll do. We might not do every day live. We might do like 2 or 3
Yeah.
days a week, something like that, and then do the pre-produced stuff too. So what happens with the pre-produced stuff is, I agree, Raphael, it's more fun. It's fun
It's
for us too.
Yeah, it's fun doing it. So.
But the pre-produced stuff has a longer shelf life, and it enables us to hit points like in a shorter amount of time. So we're here for an hour, right? Not everybody wants to watch us for an hour, like chatting back and forth and doing all that stuff.
Right.
Even if there's good stuff in here today, people won't watch it because it's just too long or whatever it is.
Right.
So we'll do the pre-produced stuff probably along with some of the live stuff. So yeah, Glenn, maybe it's that. Maybe 2 or 3 days a week, and we label it a day and we go live. And that's probably the way we'll mix them back in together.
If y'all don't know, our production is probably, to make a 12-minute video, probably takes a full day.
Easily.
We do
Plus,
it.
I mean, it's like, easily.
Yeah, because that involves like editing and then making sure that I do a good job so Kevin can call cut. So since we're not, it's hard to get that part done. Instead of me just, when you're filming something on your own, you don't see the things that
it's hard to get the feedback
on the other side. Get the feedback.
Yep.
We'll figure it out.
But we will get there.
Yeah.
Eventually, when this thing starts calming down.
A new camera set up. We're ready. I think technology's ready to go. We may be able to do a remote. So I'm working on that idea too, like where we set up a second camera and then Kevin can direct it remotely. Yeah,
we can do a produce remote thing, and maybe that is something that we do need to look at seriously, so we can do this. So we'll see. Quit making Fizz Buzz the movie every day. Yeah, that's it. We're making the 1 hour version every day right now. So you guys show up and like it, but not everyone does. It's like, we got to try and have a mix in the middle somewhere. The way that YouTube pushes live content too is interesting. They don't push it like they do pre-produced content. Never does as well. So, ultimately we want to get out to as many people as well, but we also want to be here for you guys.
So Maverick wants me to review a course.
Oh, okay. Oh, we made a joke about this at one point, actually, in one of our other videos. We did, didn't we? Like self-driving car shit. Yeah, we made a joke about this because we were like, wow, hold on a minute, this is legit. There's a web course for this?
There is.
Like,
for self-driving cars.
How is there a web course for? And the question, are they legit? How can they be? Unless you've got a self-driving car to practice on.
So I haven't taken it, to be fair. Neither of us have. So what I would say is probably shows you some of the techniques that you might do while trying to get a car to drive itself. Maybe like computer vision.
Right. So abstract self-driving car engineer.
Yeah. So you have to figure out how do I test this in the real world? So how many jobs are out there building for self-driving cars?
Yeah, right now not many. I guess
maybe. And they're all filled. So if you're trying to break in Maverick, which I think you are, that's not the thing you want to hang your career on day one. So get another job and then work on that and see if you can. There's only a few vendors out there really doing this too. I mean,
I would say every popular car manufacturer is looking at this, though. Don't forget, every popular car manufacturer has a team that's looking at this. Yeah. But don't forget that team's probably filled with high-level guys who are still looking at it on an abstract level, and it's not. Yeah, there's not hundreds. My guess it's less than hundreds of people. So getting one of those jobs is going to be kind of tough.
Yeah, the engineering team for that, about 20 people at Ford.
That would be my guess. Yeah, it's a small team of people because they're not looking to roll it out at this point. They're seeing what Tesla's doing and what Google are doing, what these other guys are doing, and they're figuring can I leverage that? Is Google Drive going to be is going to be Ford powered by Google? Is that going to be the thing? Probably is my guess.
It'd be so much easier if we just changed the roads.
Is it?
Yeah, just put sensors in the roads.
Maybe. In some countries, definitely. In the UK, for sure. So the UK, I don't know if you know this. So in the UK, they did away with pretty almost exclusively, I think, police giving away speeding tickets on motorways. because the whole motorway system, the whole freeway system there is cameras. And they have these special cameras where they know when you get on and they know when you get off, and they know 2 points between them. And they time you. Every car that goes through that checkpoint, there has a start and a stop end. If you get there too quick, they just send you a speeding ticket in the mail. So it's a smart motorway. It's a smart freeway. I think we'll see those here eventually. That's what they call them. And I think we'll see them here.
Check this comment out.
This got hired 5 months ago as a React, but first assignment on C#. That's funny. Like, okay, yeah, that's funny.
That's hilarious. Yep.
Yeah.
So learn. I mean, we keep saying it, but okay.
So there you go. So he's now doing a lot of studying on his own.
Good. That's good. I mean, that's what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, as a coder, they hired you, and it's not going to hurt you.
Here's the thing, too. And I think we say this a lot of times. You've just got to put a stake in something. And you may not choose the exact same thing that you end up working in, but trust me, your experience that you've already gained is going to help you learn the C# stuff way easier. And they hired you clearly because of your skills and that you are going to be able to learn C#. So you've already shown your ability to do one thing, and now switching over is just going to be easy. Or, like I say, back-end C#, you're going to be able to learn it, and you're going to find it so much easier. It's not like you wasted your time.
React and web APIs together, and you can build your back-end, your services in C#, and then you can still use React on the front end.
Yep.
A lot of people are doing that. So, I mean, you'll use both of them. So.
Yep, definitely.
So I think that's kind of cool. Who's here today? Anybody here today that we want to talk to?
Everybody's here. Everybody's here.
Happy Friday.
The whole crowd's here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Abraham's here too. MSV's here, of course.
MSV.
Maverick doesn't want to learn JavaScript. I don't know.
Sorry, man. We're gonna look a little bit like but we'll see. Hopefully,
this will be simple stuff to teach me stuff.
Yeah, I'm teaching Kevin
which I need. David loves JavaScript. It's his favorite, so that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, I think it is.
What's coffee typing? Is that a thing?
I don't know what he means by that. Is he drinking coffee while he's typing?
I don't know. Maybe isn't there a language coffee type or something?
Script. We're not doing that.
It's coffee script. Is that it? Okay.
We're not doing that.
That's just is that one of those? Is that a superset or subset? Whatever we call of JavaScript?
I forget.
Okay.
I'd have to go look. So
I don't know anything about it. I've just seen I've seen there's a book on it, and the reason I remember the book is a picture of a coffee cup on the front of it, and I guess it's just stuck with me. So Rafinko's here too. Hey, Rafinko. Shahir is here. I think we saw Fiona already is here, and Glenn's here too. Count down his days. He's got 1 week. Chill next week, Glenn, because it's on after that.
Eat a hot dog next week for 4th of July, and we'll be ready to roll.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
So we're excited.
What was I going to talk about? Oh, we were talking about just before this actually. We were talking about cheating in video games.
Yeah.
Like, and how bad it is, like with Destiny, and it's the same with Call of Duty. It's the same with just about any online game.
Yeah, I think it's like anything else right now. Destiny in general is easy to hate on, and so like that's where or maybe it's just because I'm in that. My Twitterverse is talking about it, but like, man, they're getting fed up with that stuff. I was watching a video the other day of a warlock in the air for like 3 minutes. Like he's just flying around in a trials match. Just flying around. And this.
How is this something we haven't solved yet? How is there not some standardized thing that works? I just don't get it.
Bungie can't fix it for whatever reason. We don't know why, so like,
Well, it's not just them. None of them can. Activision can't with Call of Duty. They can't do it on Battlefield. Like, so Call of Duty, their answer to this was with so they had a lot of cheating happens on PC, not so much on consoles. So every PC user for Call of Duty, the latest Modern Warfare game, has to register a cell phone number. You have to validate your cell phone number for them to be able to let you into the game. And they still have cheating. So they didn't try and fix it with like software or stopping people or doing that stuff. They just put this weird barrier in place that just annoys people.
Yeah. So for practice, do I need to wait for .NET 5 to roll out to learn C back in C#? Absolutely not. Start right now. And then .NET 5 will roll out and you can pick it up. But it's not going to, you're not wasting your time learning it under .NET 4 or .NET Core. So you'll be fine. Just start right now.
There you go, jump in.
Yeah. So like, and that's what I think. So, and then I was watching my final thought on cheating is like, I was also watching another video where this guy literally said, hundreds of hours I've spent perfecting this no scope with a nice sniper rifle. We're like, dude, shut up, aimbot.
Like, exactly.
Like, come on, man. He's hitting people like they're like, less than a micron on the screen all the way across the screen.
Somehow you can see it and hit it.
A sniper rifle and headshot. Like, okay, whatever. Yes, you've perfected your skills. Yeah.
See, Maverick says Fortnite uses this easy anti-cheat. Yeah, but does it work? Like Battlefield has used Punkbuster for years. It doesn't do anything. It's this weird, it's supposed to detect cheating software running on the PC. It doesn't. They just hide it. So I don't know if there's any cheating in Fortnite. I don't know. I've never played Fortnite. My guess is there probably is. My guess is they haven't solved the cheating issue. And I'm not sure they ever will until there's some universal way of solving it. Everybody tries to fix this thing and they never really fix it.
So the problem with Destiny that seems to be really bad, I don't know if it's happening on the other ones, is like, so when you get kicked off and your internet goes bad, it's called the beaver code. You get a beavered, and everyone says, I got beavered, which means that your network went down. And so that's what these IP load testers are doing to trials teams is they're beavering them, basically like spamming their IP address. So it's kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's crazy. See, you'd think from a technical perspective, you would be able to stop and fix that.
Yeah. You'd think.
I don't know.
But
or just quit giving away the IP addresses.
Yeah, it's on your PC there. It's kind of like you got to connect to them. It's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
So like you got to give it up. I mean, you're all like connected together. So it's pretty easy to uncover and discover. So anyway, so enough of that. So we have to solve that.
Enough about cheating. So if anybody wants to, there's a pain point for people. If you something you can solve, but that's a big issue.
Yeah.
Let's do a meme.
Let's do a meme. Let's get some explosions.
There's only a couple posted, but I like this one, so we're gonna show this one.
Cool.
So when you start coding in a new language without reading the documentation first, you're like the guy trying to play pool on the table tennis table.
Okay, cool. Do that quite a bit.
So, oh, do you? Oh, yeah. Are you not a manual reader?
Nah, man. What I'll do is like I'll try to like just build Hello World or something like that real quick, and then it real quickly moves into like coding challenge, building UIs, and then I get stuck, and then I'm reading it. Let's see how far I can get. But I'm different than most. I mean, like I've been doing it a long time, so like a lot of the stuff's kind of the same. But like I would look at picking up React would take a minute. Just looking at how it works.
So here's a question for you. Kelly brings home a piece of furniture. Do you look at the instruction manual?
If it's IKEA, yeah.
Okay, so your approach to software is different than your general approach. Because I know some people don't. They're just like, the manual goes to one side, and it's like, right, I've got 4 pieces and 10 screws. Like, what do I do?
Well, see, most furniture is easy to put together. IKEA has like very specific instructions. That's what I always tell everyone. Like,
they do.
The instructions for IKEA stuff is amazing, but it's very specific.
Yeah, but it is amazing because there's no words in it, and they are very good about making sure you know exactly what to do without words.
I have yet to put together a piece of IKEA furniture wrongly. I've put together it wrongly, but I've yet to see where the instructions were wrong. It's always like you go back and look at that thing was like that. I should have looked closer.
Exactly. Clearly you showed me the holes were supposed to be on this side. I just ignored it and just put them the other way. Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Not long for me normally, Adam, because they normally give you that little wrench tool, and then there's like 100 of those things to put in. You're like, hold on a minute. You want me to put these things in by hand with this tiny little tool? Yes. I'm like, no.
Follow the instructions.
I bought one of those cool, like, I bought an actual, like, hex set thing so I can put this stuff together legitimately. Like, I'm not playing with that whole thing.
Is IntelliSense cheating? Absolutely not, Raphael. Anything you can do to get the job done is not cheating. There's no such cheating in coding. Now, you can steal intellectual property, but like if someone's asking you to build a website, IntelliSense isn't cheating, you know? My son went through college and got his 2-year programming degree, and I can remember where the instructor said the IDEs were a cheat, and I just wanted to go there and yell at her. Like,
they wanted him to do everything in Notepad, didn't they?
In Notepad. No one programs in Notepad. No, you know, it's not a crutch. It's a tool. It's the way it is. You know, you don't bang hammers in with rocks. You use, bang nails in with rocks. You use a hammer, you know.
Right.
So I wrote a snarky
Imagine
email.
you show up to your first job. Like, and you like whip out Notepad?
Yeah, I wrote her a snarky email though. I just said, you can drive a horse to work, but we choose cars. Okay. So like, but like IntelliSense is like a lifeblood, especially with something .NET framework. I mean, like you can't know it all, and that helps you uncover the properties and methods that are on this kind of object. So like, it's just the way it works. It's a good thing to do. Yeah, definitely.
Let's do a couple of questions before we talk about some JavaScript stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
Andrew has one. Should I learn Angular first before React? I'm finding React pretty confusing.
Pick one and learn one. They both do the exact same thing. So pick one or the other. I think the problem, Andrew, with your question, and I'm not trying to make light of it, but like you're saying Angular first, like pick one or the other. It doesn't matter. They're both going to be confusing at first. They're both built around building you templating and binding and things like that for helping you manipulate the bond in JavaScript. So I don't think one's harder than the other. They just do it different ways.
Right. Yes, Esteban. This can be tough.
It's dumb.
You're told to. Well, it's the same as whiteboarding, right? I mean, plain text editor or whiteboard, same thing.
Yeah, neither one compiles. I mean, like what? I don't even understand why an interviewer does that today, because I can bet you money that they don't do it, and then you don't code from memory a lot of times, So like you use IntelliSense, autocomplete, all those kind of things, man. Like whatever you can do to be fast and productive is what you want to use. That's why these tools are written,
Right.
So it's so annoying to say, hey, code this in Notepad. And I'm like, dude, I don't use Notepad, man. Can I use VS Code? No, that's cheating. How is it cheating? Am I going to cheat on the job? I mean, I use Notepad here.
Right, exactly. Is that cheating too? Yeah.
I want to leave.
That's what I'm saying. If you should say one to the job and you open up Notepad, you're like, all right, I'm ready. They're going to be like, whoa, what's going on here? What are you doing?
Yeah. Can I
I'm a purist. No. I only use Notepad.
We don't use the internet here. We can't Google it.
Yeah. There's a meme in there somewhere for somebody if they want to make it.
Right. So it's just
okay, let's talk about some JavaScript stuff then. So we talked about JavaScript yesterday. We're going to talk about some more stuff today because we got off and we were like, man, we should have covered this, and this. So we thought about some things. We're like, yeah, let's talk about that and talk about this. So we had a quick discussion and you came up with some cool stuff to talk about.
Oh, my JavaScript stuff? Yeah.
So yeah, and your JavaScript stuff.
All right, because we were ranting about facial rec before we got on. So like
no, let's talk about that real quick. Facial rec thing. Yeah, that's interesting. So it seems like a lot of there was a story recently where a guy, and I forget where it was exactly, but a guy, it was in New York. So a guy was on camera. The police used the camera footage to for facial recognition. They arrested him on suspicion of something, whatever it was. I didn't read the entire story. Turns out it wasn't him.
He allegedly stole a bunch of watches.
Okay, turns out wasn't him.
Exactly, it wasn't me.
So their facial recognition didn't quite work very well. Yeah. And we're talking about and I think a lot of places are saying now that they're going to quit using it as much. It makes me wonder how much they're using it already and how many other people have been wrongfully accused using it. And is it can you use it in court? I don't know. But the footage that they showed, and they did show the footage, it's some 480p
dark lit
security footage. Yeah. And it's like this. The dude's like this. You can barely even see anything. I'm like, did you really think that was the guy?
Yeah, so like the other problem I think is they didn't talk about the reference video or the reference video image. So what did they use to compare that to?
Right.
So like
We don't
if
know
you
that. I don't think they showed us that.
get arrested and you have an attorney, you need to say, well, what was the reference footage? What was the reference video? So was that me? I mean, maybe the match did work, but the first reference footage was wrong.
Maybe.
You know, like, so there's two sides of this coin that people need to think about, and that's the procedural part of it. Second part, all algorithms aren't equal, so there's some good ones or some bad ones. You know, and so like if you're, way I look at this, let's say that we buy into the notion that if you're dark skin colored, facial rec is inaccurate, and I could definitely think trying to do this, that's possible, like, because if you're in a darker room and you have darker skin, it's going to be hard to see the distance between
the points that they're trying to measure.
So they're measuring this point, they're measuring the point from chin to nose bridge, and if this is like kind of like darkened where you can't really tell, it can make estimations. And the moment you make estimations in facial rec, it's not
it's less accurate.
It's way less accurate. And so like, should facial rec be outlawed for police? I don't think it works. So like, and then the other problem I have, let's say that it does, and they say, well, you only can use it for white people because it's 98% accurate on white people. You know, well, 98% accurate isn't good enough for me. Second, the other thing is the reference image. What are you using to say that I was in the store? I mean, that can be fake too. So like, I don't like any of it. Period.
Right.
For that. Can it be used for building access? Yeah. So like if you're a black guy and you're trying to get in your building at work and you can't get in, well, at least you're not going to jail for that. I mean, like, you know, it's like inconvenient. Like, you know, same thing with my Samsung phone, which I think recognizes my face 40% of the time. If I have a hat on, it doesn't work. You know,
that's bad. They use this terrible footage to like arrest this guy. Your Samsung phone right in front of your face doesn't even know it's you.
No, like, and so like I'm saying, like, yeah, I'm punching in my 4-digit code 60% of the time, but I'm not going to jail, so it's not that big of a deal to me. Like, but when you start using it with your liberty on the line, I think in the U.S. they should definitely outlaw that stuff. It's not ready for prime time. I mean, the problem is we watch shows like 24 with Jack Bauer, who made this, like, you know, and it's like CSI. It doesn't work good. Should they still do research in it? Yeah. Computer vision's cool. I mean, but for building access, but I would imagine that when you go to court, that a good attorney would get you off this by just saying, but the problem is you shouldn't have to go to court. So in America, you should be innocent until proven guilty. So like, you shouldn't. There shouldn't be there should be way more proof. You know. And so what I think is like, if you get falsely identified, I think that one thing that you can do, and no one's done this yet, but I was thinking about like what I would help that guy with is like, start recording your GPS location data and say, dude, I wasn't there. Like, this is where I was at, you know, 12:04. I was eating a hot dog down the street. You know, I actually have never been in that store, period, according to my GPS data, which is the case with this guy. He said he'd been in there in 2014 once. And so like, did they pull footage from 2014 and we compare it to another footage and then they assumed that he stole it? It was just kind of dumb. The whole thing was just fraught with bad police work. So just get rid of it. Because I don't think
I'm with you. It's not ready. No. It's not ready.
And maybe the military has ways for droning people, and maybe that works. I don't know, man. I mean, like, you know, maybe they're droning people and it doesn't really matter because we don't see it overseas. But like, I would say for police work in the U.S., it should be outlawed. You know,
I'm with you. I'm not a fan.
No, not a fan. So anyway, enough rant.
Okay. With that said, let's talk JavaScript. Nick was asking, we're going to do one with C# and Blazor too. We probably will. Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll definitely do it.
About that, we were actually talking about that before.
I'm not finished with the app yet, Nick. I'll just give you a little preview. It's on about I'm going to build something for job hunting and how you would use a workflow and build it in Blazor. And we're actually going to release it to students. So, but I'm going to show you kind of what I'm going to do. I'm going to build it all in Blazor. It's a pretty simple workflow app, and then just show you how to build it in Blazor. So it'll be project-based, which I think when you're learning how to do anything, and I was just saying, you don't read the documentation, I immediately just jump to project. I mean, like, that's right. I like, hello world. Okay, I'm ready to conquer the world with React. So, like, you know, so that's kind of where I go to. And then I'm out like Googling a bunch of stuff. So anyway, so that's kind of cool. All right, so let's look and see what we got here. All right, let me.
Can I share this already?
I can share it. All right, so one thing I want you to know, if you're looking at tutorials, and I'm just going to like give you some advice here on tutorials real quick. So if you're looking at a tutorial and they're showing you a lot of stuff like, hey, you can edit this in the console, and there's console log, and you're writing code in the console, try to extrapolate that into VS Code. Always use VS Code or some kind of editor to do all your tutorial work. There's no reason to code in the console, in my opinion. Can you do it? Yeah. Will you do it for a living? No. And so, like, it's just not a good thing to start out with. So I think that that's my first thing. So I'm using VS Code here. And what I did is I mocked up a really quick web page. And so I used a Bootstrap. Let me get my mouse over there. I used a Bootstrap template thing where I just type in $, and it builds this out. Something I really typed in here is this little div tag. And I'll go through it real quick. I put a container on it, and then in Bootstrap, a container means that it'll center it in the screen, put some margin or some gutters on the left and right. That's all it does. And then I created a simple H1 tag, which is my title, called JS Fundamentals. And then I created a little label with a P tag, it's a paragraph tag. And then I have an input box. Doesn't have anything in it. And Raphael asked yesterday, hey, let's talk about DOM and manipulation. I'm like, that's what we're going to do today a little bit, Raphael. So the basis of that is IDs. So like, if you want to access something from JavaScript, it has to have an ID. We're going to attempt to access this, whatever the user types in, and then display the answer to our algorithms down here in this P tag by using the ID results here. So that's it. So that looks like this. Now I thought about making this super fancy, but then I realized that we would get more confused on the CSS and HTML than just focusing on JavaScript. So this is like plain Jane, you know, so we can be able to type something here. I'm going to need a button eventually. So we'll do that in a second, maybe. Yeah, so we can get there. So let's see what we can do. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to create a JavaScript file, and you need to create a styles. Now, in general, what I'm going to do in general is I put these in their own folder structures and reference them there. But today I didn't want to even confuse you with that. Like, I have 3 files in here, just an empty CSS file. I may style some stuff, I may not, depending on how far we get. And then this is my JavaScript file, and this is where we're going to actually write our code. And this is our, what I would call the view or the HTML file. So we have it separated. And so that's the basis of the project. So the first thing that we can do is let's write a little bit of JavaScript, and let's go back to yesterday and just see if we can like create a variable and then display that variable on the screen. Seems pretty easy, right? Okay.
Cool.
So what I can do is I'm going to declare something as a constant. Okay. And then I want to talk about a little bit of naming conventions here. So I'm going to make something called monthly call it rent. All right, so like so this, and then I'm going to say that's $500. Okay. So I've created a little variable. I've used a constant here. Okay, and this is in a JavaScript. As we learned yesterday, this is now global to everything because it's not inside of a function. So it's not.
Can you blow up the font size a little bit, Bobby?
Yeah, I can.
Is that a simple thing to do? I don't
think so. Control Command plus. Thought I could. On Windows. There it goes.
There you go. That worked. There you go. Okay. Right. There you go. Fiona was asking. It was kind of small. That's okay.
Make it bigger.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. It's a little delayed on here. So let me now that it's ginormous.
But I can see it now.
Yeah. So we don't need this really.
Okay.
Just keep it out there. So now I've got this super simple like variable. All right, and so like the one thing that you can learn is this is what's called an assignment, and we're going to go through what double equals and triple equals means in a second. But this means this value is now going to be stored in this variable, basic, right? And
that constant.
Yeah, and it's constant, which means I can't assign it or change it or anything like that. So it's going to carry over whatever. And as we learned, there are cases where you can change constants, but that's dealing with objects or arrays. So I'm gonna make another one here, and I'm gonna and then what I'm gonna call this is yearly rent. I don't know how much I pay in a year. Most people don't do that. So I can do something like this, and I'm going to multiply that by 12 because this was a monthly value. So now I have two values in here, monthly rent and annual rent or yearly rent. Okay. Now, what every thing they're going to show you is they're going to write something like this. And so all the tutorials out there show this all the time. And I think it's cool. It's easy, but like, I think you need to go what I think right away and just do this for real. Like, how do you actually do this? Like, no one uses console log to write a program. So I'm going to skip that. But all this would do is write this into the console log, which you'd open up the developer tools in Chrome, or you could put this in debug bug here and you could see it at the bottom.
On line 3 there, should that say monthly or monthly rent?
Oh, monthly rent. You are correct.
Just say, okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
JavaScript's awesome, isn't it?
I get it.
I told you. So like, I think that's what it is. The other thing too is I start all variables with a lowercase letter, and then each word after that, I capitalize that, camel casing. That's what I do. Most of the things that you'll see in JavaScript, that's how they're doing it. That's the naming convention that you use. If you use something different, that's fine. All right. So what could we do to get this to a web page? And I think this is the fundamental thing that you want to do. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to write this to a web page. So I'm going to create a function. And I'm not going to pass in any parameters, but a function, you can just do it like this. Okay. And I need to give it a name. So like, let's go display rent. And I violated my naming convention, but I'm going to change it back. So now what I want to do is write that to the page. Now, if you come over here and look at our index page, we have a an ID here, two elements that have an ID. And so I'm going to target this P tag, and I'm going to put content in here, and it's called results. And so if you go over here, and I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to use vanilla JavaScript. And this is where React and Angular and jQuery and Knockout are trying to make this simpler. But I like doing it this way. So the document function is telling me that where this JavaScript file is attached to, give me the entire HTML document that this function is on, or this function is at, or this JS file. Okay. So it's going to give me access to every element in here. This whole thing. Okay. Now I think I haven't done it yet, and we'll do that in a second. So go back to here. And so like now this tells me the document that I'm on, this JS file is on, and then it's going to tell me I'm going to find it by this ID. And so this is how you reference elements. One of the ways that you can reference elements. And then you have to give it the exact name, and it is case sensitive. Okay. And then from here, now we can have properties that we can set, like inner HTML or inner text. I'm going to choose inner HTML. I'm going to set that equal to monthly rent. Now my IntelliSense, once because I'm in VS Code, once these things are defined, it'll spell them for me. So it helps you make sure that you spell everything correctly, and I'm not having to do it all the time, you know. But you do. That's one thing that it'll give you. So that's it. I mean, that's This is how we modify the DOM. We're also pulling values out of a variable. Okay, which is cool, which is like the basics of programming. Now we got to make sure that we can get this on a page. So I believe, if I remember, I don't have to Google it. I can put a button. And I'm going to say type equals button. And then I'm going to give it a class. I just know these classes from Bootstrap. And then we'll give it a color. I think these are button primary. I think that's what it's called. I'm doing this totally from memory.
You got 2 A's in there. There you go.
Yeah, that's primary. Okay.
Yep.
I got it right. Okay. So I should be able to refresh the page and save it first. And I should get a button, hopefully. But did anything wrong? We'll see. So I'm going to put a name on it. All right. So we can actually see it. Come over here. The button is now on here. So we have this button now. It's kind of cool.
Adam's calling you out. Look, it says you're using IntelliSense. You saw it. You're not really coding, cheating.
I know. I'm cheating. I am cheating. I actually cheat more usually when I'm displaying stuff. So like, but today I'm actually doing this totally live, and we're teaching. You're using 2 screens with 3 screens. So we're
right.
Cheating so that we're not like focusing on our typing and more focused on teaching what the deal is. So like this has a button here, and so what I can do with a button is I can say on click, and this is an event that gets fired when you click on the button. And in
you got an extra L in there.
Yeah, I can basically tell it what JavaScript function I want to call. And so over here, this thing's called display rent. And I do this all the time where I'm going to copy this sucker and I'm going to paste it over here and do something like that. I'm going to put it in quotes and should have quoted it first. VS Code let me down. Then, so then I can call this function. Now I can't call it yet because I haven't referenced it yet. What I do is I always put my scripts at the bottom because I want the page to load before I run stuff.
You're saying you haven't. Okay, you're saying you haven't tied that JS file back into this yet.
And then a lot of times, when I'm using like things like libraries where I'll have jQuery here and Popper and Bootstrap, obviously. I'll put my custom script beyond underneath that in case I'm using jQuery or something inside of Bootstrap in my JavaScript file.
Ah, okay. Otherwise, it won't work, right?
Blow up, yeah.
Okay.
So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to reference that JavaScript file that I'm using. And that's it. So now what I should be able to do is call this button. So I've done everything right. I'm just going to run it here. So it displayed my results. Kind of cool, right? So that's the round trip of like a button interaction, and then accessing something with the ID, manipulating the DOM by bringing that result back. And that is the round trip fundamental of JavaScript. That's kind of what you do. To extrapolate further is you can replace your JavaScript with your web API or some kind of more complex service that you call, or like an API in general to bring back a list of movies and those kind of things. So
you're saying instead of replacing like you have here with the monthly rent in the HTML, we would replace something we call back from an API that we'd already assigned to a variable, something like that.
Yeah, or we call the function and we're getting values from an API from here or something like that.
Okay.
So in general, that's the round trip that you do. You call a function or a method inside of JavaScript, it does something, and then you return that result to the screen. And that's 90% of what you do in JavaScript. That's always what you're doing. You're manipulating the DOM to display information. Okay. The reason people use JavaScript is because I don't have to go to the server to get it. And so I can like independently ping something out there, get a piece of value or data and come back with it. And so that doesn't allow the browser to refresh. And so if you remember from the 90s up until, in recent history, a browser refresh would be a very kind of expensive process. It took a long time to go. And so JavaScript came around to keep you from doing that. So and it's stuck around. So now we have these very kind of what the other term when we say responsive apps, in other words, like it's not responsive in terms of like moving from, mobile to big screen, but like when I click on it, it just does stuff and stuff appears and it doesn't refresh the page.
This might be totally off topic, maybe not, but is Ajax something related to that too? Isn't that like a
Ajax is calling JavaScript from the front end to the back? Same thing. So and you get it back and you use it, and
but it allows you to not refresh the page or something, right? That's my understanding of it. That's
JavaScript. Yeah. So you'll see people using Ajax in a grid or something like that, and or edit in place, or I want to like go look at the notifications or something like that. So you may make an Ajax call. So it's kind of cool. All right, cool. So that's pretty easy. And then that's all we're doing. And so also in here, it's always good to comment what you're doing. And one of the things that I do a lot is I write comments before I even start coding. But here, this is simple. Display the rent. Now, this is where it gets kind of cool. So now we can just basically change this. We can change that to yearly. Okay. And now if we go out and hit this, it'll change it to 500 times 12, which will be something like 6,000. That's your annual rent.
Yeah, it's cheap. I don't know where you're living. It's cheap.
Not San Francisco.
It is. No, it's not even here. Trust me.
No, it's not here. So but that's kind of what that's kind of how it works. So, and then we can change this value here, even though it's a constant, and save it, and then redo our calculation, and now it's 12,000.
Okay.
If we extrapolate this further, this could be like a variable coming in based on whoever's logged in, their monthly rent, and then this thing would.
Yeah, so from that input box, you could take that input box, assign it to the variable, and then do the same thing. That's okay. Which surely is mostly the stuff you do here, right? That's got to be, you're taking an input, you manipulate it, and you display something.
So that's why I did this. So now I'm going to change this.
Okay. Okay, cool.
So what I want to do now is I want to create an input box variable. Okay. And I'm going to say get or document get element by ID. Okay, and then I'm going to go back and find that input box. And it's called input value. I just named it that. I could have named it anything I wanted. It didn't really matter. And now what this does is gives me a handle to this box. Okay. And I'm going to do this in two statements. You can do it in one just to show you kind of how it works. So
hold on. When you say a handle, is that's a technical term?
Yeah, because watch what happens. Yeah.
Okay.
I call it that. Equals. And the reason I'm doing this is just for teaching so that you can understand like what's going on here. Because sometimes you're doing this, but it's important to understand dot val. Okay. And that's one thing. It's just like I do not know why it does that. So I think that's the thing that this hopefully will give us our value back. And then we can do something like this. I'm going to make these kind of lets too. Okay. And then I'm just going to say, we do it like this to work better. I'm just going to change my monthly rent here. I'm going to take the let off. So now what I'm done here is I'm referencing this variable up here. If I put a let in here, this thing wouldn't have that value. But since I'm doing it up here, I'm going to get this global kind of variable up here. And so like what I can do now is I'm going to get my yearly rent right here. And so this should change when we do this if I did this right. So I think I did it right. Maybe it's bad. I can't remember. I have to look it up, but like hopefully I did it right.
See if it works.
Yeah, so let's see if it works. So like we should be able to call this function, and I should be able to put in say 1,000. So if I did it right, this should return. Let me do 500 because it's 500 in the document.
It's different, yeah.
So it's different than this one. So if this works, it blew up because I think I did it wrong here. I think it's just it's value. I can't remember. Right back. This is the thing where you I'm always switching between languages.
Because this same kind of thing, you can do something similar.
Yeah.
In a different language, but okay.
Yeah, it's value. That's what I thought. So now it should work. So let's go here, and I'm gonna put 500 in here. Yeah. Okay. Refresh it. So like what I'm gonna do here, so now I can put in 500 in here, get a value, boom, got a 12,000. Ooh, it didn't work. I wonder why. It's already calculated. Interesting. So let me do this. Let me move this into here because that was already calculated, and we need to calculate it new every time.
Okay. Right.
What I would do here for clarification, I would do this, and this is when you don't have a full-blown demo put together. You're just like making some. I would do something like this. I would set it, and then I would do this so that it's so it's always set when I run the function. It's reset.
Okay.
Like I'm declaring this variable, and then I'm also setting it with an initial value. So that's what this statement does. I do that all the time.
Okay.
I could let it right here if I want to, but like I like for me, I like doing it this way just for readability. And sometimes I have guys that like take all my white space out, but like I just like it that way. It's just me. So I think I killed it. So let me open this up and all right. So we're still here. So we can put 500. So now we should get, even though this was declared as 1,000, we're going to overwrite that, and we should get, 6,000. So now we're good.
Yep.
So if we do 750, it's going to change it to 9,000. If we do 1,200 a month, 14,000, and if you live in San Francisco, maybe something.
Yeah, exactly. That's with roommates.
40 of your closest friends.
Exactly. Here you go. A couple of comments here. Finko said he did something similar at work this week. So there you go. That's interesting. So somebody's actually using something like this on the job. Yeah. That's interesting.
So
Adam says if you leave it blank, it defaults to 1,000, right? Does it? You leave it blank and hit the button? No, because it's going to set it to 0, right? Or is it?
I pull the value every time. So like it's going to be, it'll probably be undefined and throw an error out. So I need to change it to a number.
Because you haven't, there you go, it's just 0. Okay.
Because it's recalculating it every time, which is what you want to do. This was just for like explanations, like showing you like how this is scoped, and like how it's doing. It's actually changing this value up here, this global value up here. So, but like,
Estevan's saying, hearing you saying switching between languages causes struggles makes him feel better. He switches language, and the little syntax differences get you.
It all the time, man. Like if you spend a week in C# or in Blazor, or you're doing something like that, and then it just takes a minute sometimes to switch over. But it's not hard. And I just showed you, I'm just being real. I Google a lot of stuff all the time. And then some things it's val, some is value. And so like, you just got to remember, certain things. So, but for the most part, C# and JavaScript are kind of close in value. So
Shahir says he worked with Python for a long time, and when he was assigned a .NET project again, he was getting missing semicolon error on every build. So that's a thing that you don't have it in Python, but you have to have it in C#.
It's the line delimiter tells you when the statement's over. So that's what it does. It's something the compiler requires. So that's pretty easy, right? What time is it? We got 5 minutes, man. I didn't get it far at all.
Well, we chatted too much up front.
Yeah, we did too much up front.
Teach me something else easy.
So I want to show you one other thing. So let's do this right here. So let's say that I want to display just some strings, okay? And so so I am going to say, instead of just saying like the yearly rent, okay, why don't we put this in a string? And so I'm going to say let message equals and check this out. This is kind of cool. And I'm going to use the backtick. And the backtick is above the tilde on the American keyboard. This is not a single quote. It's a backtick. Okay. Your annual rent is. Then, because I use a backtick, I can use this in here. And now I can place that value in here. And so this
What's this called again?
Template literal.
Template literal, that's it. Yeah, I remember we talked about this before.
If you're concatenating strings in JavaScript and now in C#, this is the only way you should do it. Period. This is the way you should do it. Don't use pluses. Don't do that kind of stuff at all. This is the way you do it because it'll lead to better string concatenation. You can just put it in line. It's a lot easier to do. You can have multiple values in this thing, you know. So just to show you, your annual rent is this and your monthly rent, just to show you.
So much more readable.
Yes. That is, and then I'm going to put another one in here. I'm going to say monthly rent. I know what it is. And you know, VS Code's going to let me know. So this is, you know, and I made this long string here. This is where, you know, if you're using that MX master, which I'm not, they haven't sent it to me yet. I wouldn't have to do this to see it. I could like scroll with my wheel. So Logitech needs to get that sent out. So
they're on the way apparently.
They're on the way. I trust them. I believe them.
We're gonna get Esteban his too.
Yeah. So like now what I can do is change this to message. And so now I'm like formatting my message instead of just putting just one value in there. So I'm gonna save that, save all, and all right. So we're gonna put in a value of 500, and hope this works. Your annual rent is 0, and your monthly rent is 1,000. So,
didn't like that.
Guess what?
Because you set it to 0.
Yeah, it is exactly right. So I do need to put this after I do my calculation. Something like that. Yeah.
That would make sense.
What I was doing, I would do something like this. Then I would take this off here.
And that's just, what is that called? Is that a blank string, null string? What's the
string? String. And so every time I run this, I want to make sure that's reset and I'm not concatenating onto it or some things like that.
Okay,
so
right.
So I've got it saved here. Then I'm just going to move it over here, and then I can just put in, you know, 1,000 in here. And now we're good. 12,000 is our annual. Monthly is 1,000. So that's kind of how it does it. So that works really good. And then you can also, inside of here, you can also do, like, you can input inside this variable. You also have the access to JavaScript. So so I can do something like toLocal string.
Oh, so what does that do?
And so like now when I put it in here, comment on it. And so
okay. And that's just something that JavaScript does. It recognizes the number 12,000. It says that there should be a comment in there, or comma in there if it's a string.
But the beauty is like I've got this in the string, this template literal here, and so I can still further affect this variable with power of JavaScript.
Okay, yeah, that is cool. That's cool.
And so like, but if you're saying, hey man, I don't want to mess up my strings here. I want them to look cooler. I want them to be more clean.
Right.
You could do something like this, and you can say, I think you could do this. This is way off the demo.
Let's see.
Put two local string on this, and then it'll come back formatted. So now, because JavaScript's not type safe, this is not a now it's a string. So like,
oh wow, okay.
So you wouldn't be able to do that in C#, but like so that okay. Let me just do this. That's not going to work. I'm pretty sure that's going to blow up in my face. Yeah, that's it. So now it works. So
okay.
So 2000 in here changes it.
Okay.
So like I'll do that a lot too, especially when I'm formatting strings. I want to keep these as clean as possible so you can read what the heck's going on, instead of like doing like 1,000 type function calls and calling methods and all this stuff I see sometimes in template literals are like, dude, do that out here and just format the string with your results.
But I guess the downside to that is, though, if you're going to use any kind of math manipulation on that thing again in this function, you wouldn't be able to do that on that level, right? Because you're changing the type to a string. Okay. Yeah.
I was just showing you kind of like you could format it.
Right. Yep.
And you could format it in here if you wanted. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So that's kind of that's kind of easy. And so I guess on Monday I can go through like the rest of this, which talks about looping.
Here you go. That sounds good. Next video title: even more JavaScript.
Yeah, so I want to get the control flow, and then maybe we can just start right away. But like, hopefully I hope you learned something. So like, Kevin talks to me all the time. He says these simple things are good because a lot of times these seem too basic for me, and like hopefully this adds value.
You overlook the really simple things sometimes. I'm like, wow, that was amazing. Like I learned something there. Even if I knew some stuff, I'm like.
So I'm working on a big JavaScript thing right now for our website, and so you'll see that go out in the next day or so. That I'm building JavaScript, so like an ISA calculator. So it's kind of funny. We did that that mortgage calculator last week, and now I had to make ISA calculator.
Get to make one.
Oh, guess what? I just did that. So I'll cheat.
That's good.
Some of that
code. I like that. So that's something that's actually going to be on our website too, right? So as a boot camp, one of our offerings is a income share agreement, the launchpad thing that we talk about. So you can basically come and you can, there's different things around, like you don't pay any money up front. You come and you pay a percentage of your income after you get a job making above 40K. So we're going to provide a calculator to show you exactly those numbers on the website. So it makes it even more streamlined for you guys, so you can see exactly what's going on with that thing.
Yeah. And so like, so like, we want to be transparent. Like, so like if you sign up for an ISA with us, this is your payment's going to be, that kind of stuff. We're putting it on the website. So if you want to see some code that I've written in production, it'll probably be in production and, has to be up there by July 1. So I got to do that today, probably tomorrow. So,
it'll be up here soon. Here you go, Shahir, like this.
Nice. Thanks.
Here you go. Tip for all incoming code advanced students: get used to the phrase "this is going to blow up in my face." They say it a lot. That's how you learn, though. That's how I learn this stuff. Trial and error definitely is the key to this, for me at least.
Coding live is hard because like you don't realize how many times something doesn't work and you just fix it right then and there when you're doing it. But then when you're doing it live, you have this intense pressure.
You're conscious of it.
And it's really, and you're never perfect when you're typing stuff in. So
Well, here you go. Like David said. Sorry, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Go ahead. See what David said.
No, David's saying he liked this, so yeah. And yes, I do have such a great personal educator. It's great. It's awesome, David. Raphael says love it. Rafinko enjoyed the stream. Jacob liked it too. So yeah, we'll carry this on Monday.
Yeah, we'll go over
do the rest of the stuff that you have.
And I think I was let me see what I had down here. Looping.
I'm interested to look at looping, the for loop and a while loop and the do while and whatever else we have. That's because they always confuse me. I'm like, I get how each individual one works, but for me, I'm like, why do I use one over another? I don't understand that sometimes. Like, well, they do the same thing, like, but they don't.
I may have it dressed up. I may do something like my Destiny Raid Team edition. So, like, I may do something like that. Put a background on it because we need a raid team for raid. So
this depends. Get ball at the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, all right. Well, good luck, guys, and just continue to keep coding. Our coding challenge we talked about today is coming. We do have a new one coming out. It's going to be probably after the 4th of July. We're working with trying to find a sponsor now, but even if we don't, we're going to release it anyway. And I want to put it together so that you have another coding challenge to take on and another thing to win. So it's be kind of cool. But hopefully that will come through in the next couple of weeks, and we'll have another week-long coding challenge. So
looking forward to it.
That. Come soon. So more announcements coming. So it should be fun. All right. Well, I think we're done, Kevin. It's time for lunch.
Yep. Let's wrap this up. It is time for lunch and time for the weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Good luck. Keep coding.